What up, what up? It is your boy, Ajusta, back with another abandoned vlog. This one today is awesome. You're gonna need a four-wheel drive to get to where I'm going. This one. We're at our first building. That's about eight bunkers and submarine indicator control room. And a few other things. Alright, you know the drill. Hit subscribe, keep your boy supported. Let's get this done, it's a big day. The Submarine Indicator Loop Control Room. This building was manned 24 hours each day during the World War II and was the nerve centre of Fort Skirmish here in Warham. The walls are 30 centimetres thick and enclose several special purpose rooms as shown on the diagram. The building was the control room for anti-submarine indicator loop cables, which were laid on the seabed between Bribie Island and Moreton Island. They were linked to remotely operated mines in the shipping channels entering Moreton Bay. The image to the right shows indicator loop room instruments, which detected movement over the underwater cables. This building was virtually buried in the sand dunes for 50 years until 1996, when Bribie Island Rotary Club restored it to its original condition with over 5,000 hours of volunteer effort. Subsequent storms and erosion almost claimed the building, but sandbagging completed in 2011 now provides some protection to this historic structure. That's the first building, guys. So we're going to drive up along the coastline. Hang on, we'll get this shot. Literally. Defense of Australia in World War II. Japanese invasion of Australia was a real threat during World War II after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii in December 1941. Defence facilities were urgently required for Moreton Bay to protect shipping channels and entry to Brisbane. Fort Bribie was built on the north of the island, and Fort Skirmish here at Warham. Most civilians were evacuated from Bribie Island, and military personnel occupied many public and private buildings. This building housed an electricity generator which provided power to operate anti-submarine indicator loop cables, which were laid on the seabed between Bribie Island and Moreton Island. Through a nearby control room, signals were linked to remotely operated underwater mines. Fort Skirmish operated day and night with 44 Australian Navy personnel occupying many buildings constructed in this area. Now known as Rotary Park, this building and the control room are all that remain. South of here, in the sand dunes, the Australian Army built the operated two-gun emplacements and several lookout towers. Australian and American troops were trained in beach landing craft on the ocean beach. They were based at a large military camp built where the Sandstone Point Hotel is now located. A military jetty and storage facilities also operated at Bongaree. Lookout towers. In World War II, large guns, anti-submarine detection cables, searchlights and several lookout towers were erected along this ocean beach. Bribie Island was off limits to most civilians, and the military occupied many public and private buildings including the hotel at Warham. Many lookout towers were erected in the sand dunes along the beach. They were constructed on large timber poles set in concrete foundations. Few military installations remain today, and several hundred metres of sand dunes have eroded over the years. They were all demolished after the war, but the concrete block foundations remain buried. Some have been progressively exposed over the years and brought to this park for display. The severed ends of the large timber support poles are still visible in some of the concrete blocks. This photo from the Bribie Island Historical Society shows a soldier in the doorway of a concrete lookout post, atop of a wooden tower. The picture you see now gives an estimation on where every building of Fort Bribie should be. Large guns protected entry. During World War II, large guns installed at both ends of Bribie Island's ocean beaches defended against invasion. Two circular guns were erected south of this location, amongst the sand dunes. After the war, these structures were popular children's playgrounds until they became dangerous and were demolished in 1967. At Fort Bribie in the north, two large gun emplacements operated in conjunction with two searchlights and the anti-submarine detection loops. In recent years, several of these structures have become eroded and have collapsed. None of these guns were ever fired in conflict. However, an Australian hospital ship, the Senator, was sunk in a surprise night torpedo attack by a Japanese submarine off Cape Morton in May 1943, resulting in extensive loss of life. The only reported sighting of the huge explosion at the time was by an observer here at Fort Skirmish on Bribie Island. These images from the Bribie Island Historical Society show a historic photo of the circular gun emplacement at Warham Beach and a recent photo of the gun emplacement located at Fort Bribie. Fort Bribie was constructed on the northern tip of Bribie Island, Queensland, Australia. about 120 kilometres north of the capital city of Brisbane. Its task was to defend the main shipping channel through Moreton Bay into Brisbane. Over the past decade, there has been a lot of confusion and mystery surrounding the possible existence of an underground hospital at Fort Bribie. Some of the mystery is unfolded in the following description of the hospital, but rumours still circulate about a far more complex underground structure that is also reported to be an underground hospital still there today. As mentioned before, there has been much speculation about the hospital, particularly as Dr. Ura thought the hospital had concrete walls and roof, should this still be in existence. If the hospital was made from gum and ti trees and the white ants would have demolished it by 1946, the stories and claims about the hospital continue today. Claims include, number one informant said that he went to Fort Bribie in 1996 as part of the 13th Field Battery Army Reserve stationed at Caboolture. They collected keys from someone at Bribie Island and walked about 100 metres south of the number 1 gun emplacement until they reached a sand hill about 3 metres high. It said that there were 2 RAPs, but these splinter-proof huts were bulldozed in about 1994 by the EPA. The EPA denies this strenuously and says that any work done there was to make the place safe and was all done by hand. Daniel claims to have witnessed to the alleged bulldozing and colour photos of the huts. In the late 1990s, acting on advice from others who were allegedly selling morphine recovered from the hospital, he found his way into the hospital through a ventilation duct and found a room about 8 to 9 feet underground, under a sand hill about 15 foot high. The walls were 4 foot thick concrete, and he walked along a narrow passage with several colleagues for 5 minutes or so until he came upon the main surgical ward, measuring about 20 metres by 30 metres with 60 bunk beds down the sides. There were also lots of wheelchairs, boxes of medical stores, and morphine was still on the shelves. At the end of the room, there was a door which led down to a ramp into a bunker, many times the size of the surgical ward, and this housed a jeep, a truck, some outboard motors and offices, mess and quarters. All of this was at least 8 to 9 foot underground. So all this information on the hospital and a few other little bits and pieces I've managed to get from a website supported by Dr. Richard Walding. So I'd like to just give thanks to him for providing us with this information. You can also check out his website, and I'll put the links in the description and up on the screen right now. So like I said, guys, we've got a big mish today. We're driving up this. We're driving up that. As you can see, it goes as far as the eye can see. There's the building that we were just at. I'm telling you guys, we've got over 25 kilometres of beach to drive. So I've got an FJ Cruiser, so hopefully it handles well. It's the first time I'm going forward driving, so I've got to let the air pressure out to 24 psi, and hopefully it all goes well. Got my family with me today too, so heading back to the car. Just thought I'd film the first building, because the first building is, well, the control room. That loop control room is on the beach before the access track to the four-wheel drive. So let's get to it. Hey, I just want to apologise for any wind, anything like that. Danger, unstable structure. I don't know what this one is. Oh, the World War II structure is unstable and may move or collapse, causing injury or death. Alright. So yeah guys, I just wanted to apologise for any wind. Because yeah, of the phone that I'm using. Whoa! That's cool. I don't know what those things are. It's just this little tiny room. So that's it for this one. The Southern Searchlight. Defense against nighttime enemy attack was impossible without light. 2 searchlights, one at each end of the fort, lit the targets as gunners at number 1 and number 2 guns took aim. Settings were relayed from the battery plotting room to the gun and the searchlight simultaneously, so that a blinding light flooded the target ship seconds before the boom of the gun thundered through the night. This Southern Searchlight post marks the southern limits of Fort Bribie. It supported the number 1 gun located further along the wall. Unstable structure, yeah, it looks that way. Let's have a look inside. Whoa. Check it out. The hell is that? Whoa. Pretty crazy. All these bunkers. Well, just to protect our country, our coastline, I think. You know, I'll get heaps of information on it. How cool is that? But I wonder what that thing is. So bizarre. Oh, what? Have a look up the side here. Go. This is another one just on the... It must have full gone down into a bunker. It's been buried by the sand. It goes down in under there, see? Pretty crazy, pretty cool. Awesome. Go to the next one. Big cargo ship. Ajusta's car. At the ready 24 hours a day, and number 2 gun located 140 metres to the north on standby 24 hours a day. It is these 2 gun emplacements that give Fort Bribie its name. Batteries similar to this gun emplacement were positioned along the east coast right up to Cape York, including Fort Cohen and Rose Battery on Norton Island. A daily roster board located in the southwest room of this gun emplacement detailed the individual gunner's duties for each shift. For men rostered on duty watch, waiting for the call to action was tiresome. Plotting the enemy's path. Peering out from the battery observation post window, crew scanned the shipping channel with range finding and observing instruments for any approaching vessels ready to relay target bearing and range data to the battery plotting room. In the battery plotting room, Fortress engineers calculated settings for targets in Moreton Bay, then coordinated the guns and the searchlights on the target. In their job, accuracy was crucial. Today these structures are buried beneath the sand between the mine control huts and Northern Searchlight. It's amazing. I don't think they had hinges. I don't think they had brackets like that back in World War II. Let's keep taking a look around. Wow, look at this. It's almost like an old jail, but you know it's not. That's awesome. That is awesome. Look at all that, all the old sandbags. Wow. Focus in on all that. That's what was on the board in under. Firepower. Highly explosive cordite was sealed behind a steel door in the northwest room beneath the fort, away from the flash of the gun. The frames were lined with copper to avoid sparks when the door slammed. Projectiles, each weighing 46.5 kilos each, were stored in the northeast room. Without access to cranes, the heavy guns and the huge log beams that support the roof were all lifted into position by hand. The guns on Bribey were only ever fired for target practice. Crazy. Ow. There, there. See that? Nope. Now we're going to go to this one. You guys see that one? And it's pretty much the same as before, except that this one looks like it's going to tip over. Absolutely incredible. Same as before. Same tool to drill. Look at the sand. How cool is that? More firepower. Crazy because the building's on a full slant. Look out to sea and you may spot container ships travelling very close to the shore in the northwest channel to the port of Brisbane. This is the same route enemy ships would have taken had they approached the coast. This big concrete block has come down, so that's about it. Yeah, it's the same sort of drill, guys. There's the other one. Pretty cool, that. It's so weird walking upstairs that are on a slant. I've never done it before, and then walking down them, it's even worse. Even grass is growing at the top. Same sort of deal. Right there, on the beach. Hey guys, so these ones are definitely covered up in sand. You can see like they're full underground though. There's two of them. One, two. Bloody sand. Bloody wind. So that one's for that track along there. There must be more buildings. Mind control huts. Working within these underground concrete bunkers with only a small pipe in the ceiling for ventilation, men and women from the Royal Australian Navy remained alert for submarines approaching from the north. 2 loop cables, a guard loop and a mine loop were laid on the sea floor of the Northwest Channel, ready to detect the magnetic field of the passing submarine. When a magnetic pull was detected on the guard loop, operators waited for a secondary detection. A swing on the galvanometer attached to the mine loop to confirm the presence of a submarine. If an enemy vessel was detected, the 300-volt generator would send a current down the mine loop and detonate the mines. The southern mine control hut housed the generator and cabling for the mine loop, while the mine control detonation system and guard loop cable was located in the northern mine control hut. Look, we'll get up on this other top one. It looked like they had like a chimney breathing hole sort of thing. I'm getting up on top of it, guys. So that's your view. On top of the bunker. There's this massive thing. That's on top of the actual bunker, guys. My car's all the way down there. That is wicked. So mine control rooms, like bomb mines. On to the next one. I think that's 5th, 6th or 7th building. Man, this one used to be 2 levels high, right? That was the top level, no word of a lie. I'll pull pictures up and I'll show you what I meant. that was it, guys. We drove up about, I'd say in between 10 to 15 kilometers up north along this, all past this, and there wasn't as many buildings as what I thought, but that's how we do. So we just film whatever we drill. Hit your boy up. If you got any comments, leave them in the comments below. Like, give me a thumbs up, and make sure you keep your boy supported. Hitting that subscribe button, yo. And that's it. Peace. How we doing that?